10 tips to mastering your freedom. So often we get caught up in the daily grind that we forget to do a little bit of planning so that we can really truly achieve those inner desires, those inner goals, the vision that you have for your life and for this world. So all of that requires money and time. So I have 10 tips to help you free up your time and free up that money so that you can really go and achieve your dreams. Number one is everything is about 80% psychology and 20% skill. Also resources and all that. If you have the wrong mindset, if you have negativity coming in and you're not able to deal with it, that's going to crush you down. It's going to prevent you from being able to see those opportunities, be able to meet those connections, be able to create your dreams. So working on yourself every single day, filling yourself with positivity, filling yourself with the important things, that will then allow you the time, energy to go and achieve that 20% skill required to make reality what your dream is. So tip number one, always spend a little bit every single day improving your psychology. Number two is know what you're spending your money on. So often we spend money on mindless stuff throughout our weeks that we don't even really understand. So creating that budget, looking at your, hey dealer, looking at your money, because those subscriptions that you turned on a year and a half ago that you're no longer using are probably still going. Is that money well spent? Is cable television well spent? Is that filling you with joy? Is that filling you with knowledge to go help yourself? Is that third trip to Starbucks this week giving you fulfillment? Or can you make your coffee at home, saving you $20 a week? So just creating that budget and know what's coming in and coming out is automatically going to make your life leaps and bounds better. Number three is, with the interest rates probably the lowest we're ever going to see in our lifetime, I think the prime rate is now 0, refinance your home. We can get the interest rate super, super low. Sell a few points. If you don't know what points is, you can ask me after the video. But you can sell points to get free cash, and then that free cash can go to pay for the refinance, so it's a totally free transaction from your standpoint, and your interest rate's going to be a lot lower, saving you capital. You can always push your timeline out a little bit, which also lowers your bill, and then you can take all that free cash and roll it into something else. So that's number 4. With free cash now, you've saved a little bit on your budget, you've saved a little bit on your mortgage if you have one. Start paying off all the different things that you have. Revolving debt, credit cards, car loans, medical bills, all that stuff. So if you start snowballing, so you roll all the money into paying your highest interest first, get rid of that one, now take all of that cash flow, roll it into the next one, roll it into the next one, you just kind of snowball through all your debt. Now you have a ton of extra cash flow, which leads me into looking at my notes. Number 5. If you change your payments to your mortgage to biweekly, assuming your mortgage will allow it, some do, some don't, so obviously check into your details about your specific loan. But if you pay on a biweekly schedule, there's actually 2 or 3 paychecks out of the year on a biweekly schedule that will increase the number of payments you're making. And because of that, you will pay all of that directly to the principal and ultimately shorten your loan almost by a quarter, which is super cool because you're saving yourself a ton of interest. And it's kind of a no-brainer. It's in the background, you won't even really notice it. Number 6, it doesn't really matter how much you make, because the more you make, the more you typically spend. So the biggest question is how much of that money you make you're actually keeping. This goes back to your spending. This goes to all the money decisions around mortgages and cars. Do you really need that big fancy car? Or can maybe you get a medium-sized car or a lower-end car and saving yourself an extra ton of money? Which we'll get to in a little bit of why that's even more better or more important earlier in life. We'll get to that in a minute. Number 7 is make 4 buckets for your money. You've got your living bucket. This is your daily expenses. This is your bills. This is your mortgage, your car payment, your gas, all that stuff. Generally speaking, your incoming cash will go some of that into that bucket. Your oh gosh fund, oh shit fund, whatever you want to call it. These are your catastrophic events. Hail hits your roof. You have to pay your insurance bill, which is going to be, I mean, in my case, I guess like $1,000 down to cover the initial. Siding goes bad, you have to replace it. Car accident, loss of work, all those unforeseeable catastrophic events, something to cover all of that. Generally speaking, you'd want about 6 months in that fund. And that's usually sitting in a decent interest, secure location. And then the next one is investments. So you have a growth and a secure depending on your risk tolerance. The younger you are, the more you can put towards growth, which is obviously higher rate of returns, but obviously more risky, versus the secure and more the bond side. And think about this as your, I no longer want to work, or I no longer want a job. So you can live off of that comfortably. For me, I want the 4% rule. I want enough in my investment account that I can live off 4% of that. Generally speaking, you're always going to be able to make more than 4% on your money. I mean, obviously there's downturns, but on the average, if you're making more than 4 but only taking out 4, your account's always going to grow. So I'm in it for the legacy. I want my children to have a fund that is always growing throughout our entire family tree. And then make a dream bucket. This is your oh my gosh, wouldn't this be amazing fund? So either world travel or your dream home or your boat or whatever it ends up being. So just funding your dreams. Number 8 is start investing now. There's an old saying, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. The next best time is today. It doesn't matter if you have or haven't invested. If you can start today, that is one step closer to securing your financial future. One of the case studies, they compared 2 people. A guy that started at age 27, putting in $5 a day, which is about $300 a month, earning on average 8% interest. At age 65, he would have about $1.5-ish million. Another kid, starting at age 17, putting in $5 a day till he was 27, and never anything past that, would have about, I think it was $1.7 million. So the compounding interest is your friend, as long as you can make it work for you. Number 9 is savings for later plan. So a lot of the times people have resistance in terms of saving because they don't want to reduce their quality of life. So there's a trick. If you use any new income sources, if you use any raises, if you use any savings, so when you pay off debt, for example, your quality of life isn't going to change. It's not going to go up, but it's not going to go down by taking that money and then putting it into savings. Whereas getting a raise, your quality of life isn't going to go down, but you take some or all of that raise and put it directly into savings. And if you do it automatically, your mind just forgets about it, and you're just saving every paycheck going into that savings account. And that's massive with compound interest over a long period of time. So the save later plan is actually really kind of cool because it doesn't change your quality of life, but it allows you to get there. A little bit slower, but the important thing is you get there. And then number 10 is creating the multiple sources of income. This can be anything from investments, so investments, dividends, bonds, businesses, so creating some kind of side business or side hustle, which can become a full-time profession too, which is kind of neat. So first off, getting a job. The job funds all the other activities. So as you're building your side hustles, you have a nice steady income. Well, in most of the times, and we see in this environment that doesn't always, things aren't as stable as we think they are when it comes to jobs. But then creating an active income source that is your passion, that you would be happy to spend 18 hours a day on, is so much fulfilling because it's your light. It's what you really find passionate about. And then you can do all the side things. You can do blogs, you can do all sorts of other income sources. And then the real cool thing is the investment side, which is the passive side. If you have dividend funds, if you have stocks, if you have bonds, you're getting that. You may, 2 hours once a quarter, and you just forget about it. And it just grows and grows and grows. I think it was Fidelity that did the study. I might be wrong on that one. They said the people who did the best in the stock market were dead. It's kind of so counterintuitive because people trade emotionally. Oh my gosh, the stock market's going down. Sell, sell, sell. But a person who's dead doesn't obviously have the ability to anymore. And I mean, this is an extreme example, so take it with a grain of salt. But those did the best because over the long haul, investments are always going to go up, right? Technology's getting better, manufacturing's getting faster and easier. We're having robots, and communication is faster, and all this stuff makes things scale and makes things cheaper, which ultimately leads to higher returns for businesses when the stock market goes up. So long horizon, or always looking at an upward trend. Yes, the market does drop every year about 14%, dips, and then comes back up every 3 to 5 years, or sometimes 7. We get a really big crash of like 40%. But if you look at it, we've almost made up this COVID stuff in the stock market. Now we're probably going to see quite a few more hiccups because COVID's kind of coming back. But if you can look at that and say, ooh, things are on sale, this is the time to buy. If a lot of people are running, look at what the masses aren't doing. That's usually a key of where to look. So I hope this helps in some way. I love sharing this kind of stuff. Finding your financial future is such an important thing, not only for peace of mind, but transferring to the next generation, our kids' kids, and really following your passion, following what impact you want to make on this world, whether it is feeding more people or taking care of something or starting a nonprofit. All these things need money, and because of that, we have to be really smart on our finances and where we're generating that income sources. So I got a whole bunch more tips. If you'd love those tips, send me a message. I'd be happy to send them to you. If you want to know specifically what I'm doing and want to see my kind of behind the scenes stuff, send me a message. I'd love to talk to you further. Otherwise, love you guys and see you tomorrow.